Hi guys, welcome back to Halfway Homestead. My name is Michelle, and today I want to take you through like a beginning course of hot water bath canning. It can be intimidating, but I'm going to say a few things that might scare you, but please stay with me to the end, and I think that you'll find that it really is not that terrifying. It can be a little intimidating when you're first starting, but hopefully I can put that to rest. So first thing I want to talk to you about, and I will tell you, I have notes. I have been canning for so long that it's just automatic for me. So I sat down last night and I made some notes so I wouldn't forget to tell you a few things. So first thing I want to talk to you about is safety, and not in the sense that I want to scare you, but there's a few things that I feel like you need to know up front. For example, always have hot pads. These are oven gloves. You could use just regular an oven mitt. You can use hot pads, but always have hot pads close by. That just, to me, I always have them in the kitchen, and I always have them out and ready when I am canning. Another thing that you'll want to remember for safety's sake is, and this is really just my preference, I never want small children or animals underfoot. This is boiling hot, or will be, it's not right now, boiling hot water, and it would just be tragic and heartbreaking if a child or an animal got hurt by being underfoot, or if you got hurt because of something tripped you up. So I always make sure that there's no small children or animals underfoot. Something else for safety's sake, follow tried and true recipes that have been checked out. I have this, it's called the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. Now this is a newer copy. I just bought this last year. I've always used the Ball Blue book for canning. I've had it for probably, oh my goodness, 25 plus years, and it works great. I don't have it out right now. I've actually got it packed away. Our kitchen's under construction. You'll might see some evidence of that behind me, but so I packed away any of the books that I really was not using right now just to get them out of the way. My Ball Blue book is falling apart, but so make sure that you are either looking up online or get yourself a trustworthy book of canning instructions and recipes. So now let's move into supplies. Okay, so first up, a book or a recipe or a trustworthy website that you can use. Again, oven mitts. I also have a bath towel, which I'll explain that in a little bit. That's not something that maybe most people use, but I find it helpful. Behind me, you'll see that I have 4 different pots. I have this little roasting pot. Actually, the last time I canned, what did I make? Well, I think I made jelly. I used this little one, okay? I have my pressure canner. Now, yes, we are hot water bath canning today, but you can hot water bath can in a pressure canner, and I'll explain that. This is my official hot water bath canner. This is actually the one I'm going to use today. And then I'm going to turn you around a little bit. Over here, I've got a spaghetti pot. And yes, you can in a spaghetti pot. I will show you closer up in just a moment. I have some white vinegar. You could also use apple cider vinegar. I have my jar lifter. Guys, you can find these at yard sales. You can find these at thrift stores. But honestly, they're like between $4 and $5 at Walmart. I actually have 2 of these. In case I ever lose one. The second one I found at a yard sale and I just couldn't pass up buying it. I've had this one for as long as I've been canning. You will need some sort of insert for your canner. Now, turn you back around here. This canner that I'm using today, it's sold as a hot water bath canner. And I'm going to put my oven mitts on because the insert is kind of rusty and I don't like to touch it. It's fine because it doesn't touch your food, but it's gross. To me, it's gross. So it has this insert, okay? It's a jar lifter. Do I have to use this? No, but I have to use some kind of insert, okay? So that is the one I'm going to use today. You can also use, this is a silicone insert that would set down into the bottom of your pot, and it can be expanded to make it bigger to fit your pot. I also have these, okay? This actually came with my pressure canner. I have 3 or 4 of these, a couple different sizes. I have picked, I think, one of them up at a yard sale, and then the others came with my canners. I actually have 2 pressure canners, and the other one's really old. It was a hand-me-down from my mother-in-law 25 plus years ago, but I'm still able to use it. So you need an insert of some kind. You also need, turn you back around here, you need funnels or a funnel. I actually have several different ones. I just recently bought this set on Amazon. I think it was like $12. It came with a little strainer that sets down inside if you want that. You don't have to use that, but sometimes that's helpful. This one just has a smaller opening on it, and I wanted this big wide top. That's why I bought this set. I also have these 2. These are my the ones I've had for the 25 plus years. Pretty sure I picked them up at a yard sale. And then I have another one you'll see over there in a few minutes. Now, some are plastic, some are metal. There's different reasons I have plastic and metal, and I'll share that with you. Okay? Something else you have to have are lids. These are Ball brand. These are not reusable. Guys, every time you have to have a new lid. Or these are called flats. A new flat. And no, this calls it lids. Some people call lids, some people say flats. You have to have lids or flats, brand new, never used. And you have to have rings, okay, or bands. This is what holds your lid onto the jar. There's different kinds of flats. This one, I can't remember. Oh, what are these called? Tatler. These are reusable. I bought these not on Amazon. I bought them from the Tatler website. I've had some luck with these. These take a little bit of getting used to and how to make them work appropriately. I've not had good luck with these in the pressure canner. I have had good luck with these in the hot water bath. But the little rubber gasket is supposed to be good for 10 years. And then, of course, the plastic flat is good for that long as well, or even longer. And so, while I'm over here, I want to show you this real quick. Now, I did say you have to use a new flat every time, but I keep my flats, okay? Because sometimes I will store, say like this is my homemade ranch powder. I don't want to use a brand new flat for storage when this is not canned, this has not been processed. This is just in my spice cabinet. So I can use these older used flats for things like this. And so I always keep those. I've even used these like at Sunday school and Bible school for crafts and things, or in my classroom. I teach first grade, so I'm always looking for little crafts the kids can make for Christmas or Mother's Day and whatnot. So I think I've gone over all of the supplies. Of course, you need jars. I'm going to twirl you around here. Today we're canning peaches, and you need clean, washed, sterilized jars. And guys, I sterilize mine by running them through the dishwasher. My mom, she will actually get a big pot of boiling water, and she will dip hers into the boiling water. She doesn't have a dishwasher. So she sterilizes hers that way. And here's my another plastic funnel that I have. I have this little spatula so that I can get the air bubbles out, which I will explain. And okay, I think that is all of the supplies. I, of course, have an apron on just because I am a very messy cook and a messy canner. And all right, I think I've gone over the safety, I've gone over the supplies. I'm going to move a few of these things and get them out of my way because I know what exactly I'm using today. Give me 1 second. Oh, I wanted to explain using the pressure canner. To use the pressure canner for hot water bath canning, you just do not secure the lid. You just leave it sitting on top, okay? And to secure it, it goes down in some grooves and you turn it because you want that tight fit to build pressure. But for hot water bath, you just set it on top. So I'm going to get this out of the way. I will show you pressure canning, but not today. That will be in a separate video. All right, I'm going to put this back together. Scoop that over there. The spaghetti pot. To use the spaghetti pot for canning, I would take out the strainer and set it aside. I would then put like this silicone trivet in the bottom, okay? And then set my jars on top of that, and you'd be good to go. Now I'm using quart-sized jars today. I've got a hair in front of my face, driving me crazy. I'm using quart-sized jars today. Quart size does not fit in my spaghetti pot, so we're not using that today. All right, get this put back together, and again, out of the way. Okay, put this in my basket. Try to keep all my supplies together, out of the way. Okay, so peaches is what I'm doing today. And what I wanted to show you, fruit is one of the easiest things to can other than jams and jellies. And I thought I needed to get these canned up anyway, so I wanted to use that to show you. All right, so what I have done is I bought these great big cans of peaches. We go through a crazy amount of peaches. And I was able to get like a case of 6 cans. Gosh, I don't even remember. I bought them last summer, I think for $13, which just made them a couple dollars a can. And I have been canning them or processing them into smaller portions for us to use, and we don't have to worry about any of them going bad in the meantime. So I have 4 jars here ready to go. What I did was I just used a slotted spoon, filled the jars using my funnel with peaches, and let me close this blind. There, that's better. And what I did next, remove my funnel. I used my little skinny spatula and I kind of poke it down in there. I'm looking for air bubbles. Air bubbles won't really hurt it, but air bubbles take up space, and that is space I could use for peaches. Oh, there's a bubble at the bottom. Okay, so now that I have worked out the air bubbles, I'm going to put a few more peaches in using my slotted spoon. Okay, kind of poke them down in there. Now I have already added some of the syrup to the jar, and you can see the syrup line is right up here, and that's pretty much where I want it to be. You want to leave about an inch, half inch to an inch of head space, which means space between the top of the fruit and syrup to the top of the jar. Next, I'm going to take a clean, wet rag. I got this out of the drawer and wet it right before I turned the camera on, so it is clean. Wipe that off. I'm going to move my sticky dishes to the sink, get them out of the way. Now, I have brand new countertops and I'm so afraid I'm going to scratch them or something. So I have everything on towels. I'm sure that's not necessary, and once I get used to having these new tops, it'll be okay. But that is why I have everything on towels, which I recognize now. You can't even see that. There we go. Now you can see them. Okay, next step. After you wipe down the rims, you have to use, like I said, brand new flats or lids. Excuse me. Now, up until a few years ago, it was recommended that you heat these first before you use them. You would put a pot of almost boiling water on the stove, and then you'd put these into your pot of boiling water along with the bands, and that was necessary for making them adhere or seal to your jar. Newer lids in the last few years have been made to where if you try that step, you're going to ruin your flat. So I just don't do that anymore. I don't want to take that chance of ruining my lids. And it probably says on this box somewhere, but that print is really little and I'm not going to get my glasses out to look at it. So I'm going to take a clean, unused flat, lay it right on top. Now I have a mixture here of regular mouth, which is this size, and what's called wide mouth, which is just a bigger lid, bigger opening. Okay, so again, these are brand new. I just broke the seal on that box. My jars have been wiped down clean. I'm setting these on top, just like that. I try to always keep my new unused flats in their boxes so I don't get them mixed up with my used flats that I keep. Gather some rings. Okay, so here's, you can see the size difference. This one is regular size and this one is what's called wide mouth. Okay, so this is a wide mouth jar. I'm going to use a wide mouth ring. Tighten it down to finger tight. Then I'm going to put this jar, along with all these others, into the canner. Take that off. Okay. I have water in here about up to this. Here's one of those safety things. Cold to cold, hot to hot. Okay. My peaches are cool. They're room temperature. So I'm going to use cool water to get started in my pot. If I was making something like salsa where I had to cook it first and I filled my jars with that hot tomatoey salsa, I would then need to start with hot, hot water. So hot to hot, cold to cold. You will break your jars and ruin the entire batch of what you just worked so hard on if you do, say, a hot jar to cold water or a cold jar to hot water. Okay, so I'm going to keep getting these rings on here, finger tight, put them into the canner, and I'll bring you over here to see that in just a second. Okay, here's a regular size. Now some of my rings are old. They're starting to get a little rusty. When they get too rusty, I just throw them away, or I spray paint them and let the kids at school make something with them. Okay, finger tight. I need one more band. And a wide mouth. Okay. All right, put that on there. Now, I want to show you, I could fit 2 more quarts into my canner. I just don't have enough peaches to fill this right now, but that's okay. I can with just 5 quarts in here. Now, I want to show you this jar. See how cloudy this jar is? There is nothing wrong with this jar. It has water deposits on it. To keep that from happening and coming up with nice, beautiful, clear jars, I add a little splash of white vinegar to my canning water. Okay? About, probably a tablespoon is plenty. Now, the reason my insert is so gross and rusty, like I said, is because of the vinegar. The vinegar is causing the insert to rust. The insert never touches my food. I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to set it down into the water. Okay, bring you over and show you. Okay, now I'm going to add more water to this canning pot because I need the water to be at least half an inch, preferably a whole inch over the top of the jars. Okay, grab some water here. Now while I am filling up this water, and here we go. Put the other blind down. Okay. While I am getting some more water into this pot, I want to encourage you to can something. You know, even if you canned a jar of water, try it. Try it out. Conquer that fear of hot water bath canning. All right, I'm going to pour this in. My dream kitchen will have a pot filler. That would make this so much easier. Less filling pitchers and carrying it over. If you're strong, which I'm not, you could fill that pot over here at the sink and carry it over to the stove. That's not happening. If you like my videos, please hit the like button. I'd love for you to share my video with maybe someone that you know is also intimidated or scared about hot water bath canning. Or maybe you've done this before. Maybe you're not scared of it. You just need a refresher course. That would be good too. As always, I'd like for you to subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping it is, okay, so right now it's the middle of June, and I was really hoping to have 100 subscribers by the end of summer before I go back to teaching first grade in August, at the end of August. Right now I only have, I think, 6 subscribers, so I'm probably not going to get to the 100, but that's okay. All right, so let me pull you back around here. So you can see I have the water level. It's a good ½ inch over the jars, okay? I'm going to turn this on high, and I'm going to put on the lid. And that, my friends, is hot water bath canning. Now, the bath towel. I want to show you what that's for. Then I'm going to shut the camera off, and I will bring you back whenever it is time to take these out of the canner, and we'll see if those jars have sealed. So, like I said, I have new countertops. I'm scared I'm going to damage them. But even when I had old countertops, I did this just because it helps with the mess. I'm going to move this vinegar out of the way. I lay a bath towel folded in half. Well, in this case, I'm going to fold it in fourths because there's only 5 jars. I'm going to lay that towel out on my counter, and then when I am taking these jars out of the canning pot, I'll put them right there onto that pot, or onto that bath towel, excuse me, and they will sit there until tomorrow morning. Right now it is noon, 12:15 actually, and you want to give them time to seal. It doesn't always happen right away, and you want to give them time to cool. Okay, so I will bring you back in just a little bit. Okay, so we now have boiling water, or at least it's starting to boil. And according to my Ball Book of Canning, I should process these quarts for 20 minutes in the hot water, or in the boiling water. It did take about 45 to 50 minutes for this to come up to boiling. But remember, we started with cool water and lukewarm peaches, and so it did take some extra time for that to happen. So I'm going to put the lid back on. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. And I'm actually going to turn my heat down just a tiny bit because I don't want it to boil over. And we'll be back in a little bit. All right, time to take the lid off. Now, when the 20-minute timer went off, I shut the burner off and I let it sit for about 5 minutes, okay? Oh no, look at that. We had a broken jar. Oh, stink. Oh, that's so sad. Okay, well, I'm going to fish out the good jars using my jar lifter. I'm going to lift them straight out over onto the towel to cool. Okay. Oh man. It has been a very long time since I've had that happen, but thankfully the rest of the jars are okay. All right. That jar must have had a crack in it that I didn't see, or maybe, yeah, look at that. The bottom broke out of it. Okay. So you lose some, you win, or yeah, lose some, you win some. All right. So what I'm going to do is put the lid back on. I'm just going to let that sit here. I'm going to let it cool. And then what I'll do, I'll go dump it outside. The chickens will love those peaches. And we have 4 beautiful jars of preserved peaches. Now, I'm going to hang on here for a minute and see if we hear the ping. It is one of the most satisfying sounds when you're canning. You can see on this one, the lid is really puffed up. Okay. The ping I'm talking about, oh, that one has already sealed. So what happens is as it cools, that lid sucks down and you'll hear a pop or a ping, and that means your jar is sealed. So, okay, well, I was hoping we would hear one, but I want to take you downstairs and talk about more safety as far as safely storing your jars. So I'll be right back with you in a moment when we get downstairs. Okay, so now we are in, it's actually our furnace room. It's probably the most underground room we have in the basement, and I'll show you around a little bit. So this cabinet here is all, not quite the top there, but from that top or second shelf down to the floor is all empty jars. Your jars can be reused. That one that just broke was probably reused a few too many times, but they can be used over and over and over. Over here I have one of my canning shelves. You can see I've got some jams and jellies and pickles, relishes, applesauce. Now, there is some conflicting information. Some people say never, ever, ever stack your jars. Some people say yes, you can stack your jars. So I only ever stack pints in 2s like that, like the applesauce. Smaller jelly jars like I have back here, I don't mind stacking 3 or 4 of those. They're tiny and they're very lightweight. I will sometimes, here's my meat and broth and potato jars, and then over here I've got tomato products and fruits. I will, like down here I have a quart and then a pint stacked up on top. One thing you'll want to do with your canned goods is periodically check them. I did get a batch of bad lids during when the world shut down because of COVID. I ordered some lids online because they were so incredibly hard to find locally, and the ones you could find were so outrageously priced, it was just ridiculous. And I've had some trouble with those lids just coming unsealed. I mean, they're down here in a cool, dark room, no sunshine, no windows in this room, and it stays probably about, I don't even know, maybe 60 degrees down here, and there's no reason why these lids should be coming undone. So I really just think I got a bad batch. But every so often I'll come through here and I will just feel the tops of my jars, okay, and make sure that there aren't any that have popped up, and make sure they're still good. Now these Tatler lids, I will actually just lift up on them because they don't have that pop on the top. Just lift them by the lid to make sure that they are still good. Now the other thing I want to talk to you about is some people will say, do not store your jars with the rings on. Now, I know several people who do. Storing your lids with the rings on can give you a false sense of seal. So you can see some of these do have rings on, and I'll tell you, these have rings on because I had them at a sale. I do sometimes sell my products, and when I sell them with the ring on, because when that person gets home, opens up their jelly or salsa or whatever it is they've purchased, they need to be able to close it back up. So I will sell them with the rings on, and some of these I just have not gone back and taken the rings off. But now my mom, she always stores hers with the rings on, and that's fine. That works for her. I prefer not to, in part because I don't have enough rings to store everything with rings on and then still have rings left for canning. So that's one reason I remove mine. But, so there you have it. Canning 101. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you have any ideas, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and happy canning. Bye.